GMGP. Good morning, good people. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to wake up with us. You're sick. You're sick in the head. There's a lot of fantasy football shows out there, but I promise y'all, they not like us. Brock Bowers, you looked a little quicker than fast. What does that even mean? Redraft, dynasty, best ball, high stakes, we got you covered.
And that's MVS and Justin Watson.
With some of the dopest tools designed to help you cancel out the noise and dominate your leagues.
If there's a white wide receiver named Antoine, sign me up.
Maybe it's cultural. I don't know. In season or off season, rain, sleet, hail, and snow,
Comma, semicolon, period, next sentence.
to bring you the most actionable and entertaining content on YouTube. You don't go buy the dip on the Titanic.
Quarterback that you love, D-Bro. One of the best values in fantasy football.
Prop bets with my man JRich.
Yes! Let's go!
So wipe the crust out of your eye, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake y'all asses up with Ray
And Jay.
in the morning.
My God.
How good is
Dude.
he? How good is he? Let's go, GMGP. It is Monday, January 27th, 2025. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with myself and my brother from another mother. Y'all know it is at your boy JRich on X. We're here to talk Chiefs. We're here to talk Eagles. We're here to talk Josh Allen, and we are going to talk some Jaden Daniels. Daniel Jeremiah over at ESPN dropped a brand new mock draft. We're going to run through that. We're going to run through that, JRich, a little bit. And then we got content on content on content. We will be in Mobile later today. JRich and I, along with Scott Connor, Shane Manila, they run stuff over on the DDFFB channel. Senior Bowl, JRich, I'm excited, baby. I am excited for this. Got a lot to talk about today. Who we got in the building? Who we got in the damn building this morning? What's up? Xavier, I just hate Josh Allen for not getting a rushing TD. Talking a little props early this morning. Joe in the building. Ron the Commander, GMGP to you. Adam, what's going down with you, man? A lot of people on here owe the Eagles an apology. Yes, we're going to get to that. I got some stuff. JRich is going to come on here because he's been the main one slandering and talking mad shit about Jalen Hurts. And two Super Bowl appearances in 3 years, Mr. Richards. 2 in 3 years. You're going to have to eat some crow today, but we got a lot to talk about. And if anybody out there is looking for your boy on OX, I'm not there. The hackers, they hacked me, Jay. They said it was a hack off on X against.
Really? That's where you're going with to start the Monday show.
Apparently
it's a
that's
hack
what it's
off.
Listen, man, apparently I'm just telling you what it was called. The people told me there was a fantasy football hack off, and old GQ was in fact hacked.
A culprit.
At the Ray GQ was hacked, so you have to follow me. I promise I'm not this arrogant. I'm not arrogant enough to put the in front of my name.
The one and only Ray GQ.
The Ray GQ for now. But I got friends in high places working with the old hackers, man. So be safe out there and don't get hacked off because it is not fun.
Hacked off,
you gotta go. Yeah, it's not a fun thing. But make sure you follow me on X at the Ray GQ for now for free content and all that other stuff. JRich, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Yeah, it was not my desired outcome for the Super Bowl, but we're here. Mike Vrabel sent me some new threads.
Why not?
What do you mean?
Why? Let's just start. Why was this not your desired outcome? How could you not be excited about this, man?
Okay, right. We saw this play out 2 years ago, so why would I be that excited? Do you really think going in that you expect a different outcome, or do you expect basically the same game? It was a good game, but I kind of expect basically the same game, unfortunately.
Do you even remember the last Super Bowl? Do you even remember what happened? I don't.
Yeah, Mecole Hardman caught a game-winning touchdown on
okay, sure that, but you don't remember. You don't sit here and act like you
didn't
remember.
They win 32-26? It pretty much came down to the wire. Mahomes drove the field, and Mecole Hardman caught the game-winning touchdown. Isn't that exactly what happened? Didn't they run that play where they faked the over-the-top motion, and then he went back and they ran it twice, and that was why they won the Super Bowl? Isn't that exactly how it played out?
I'm not asking for the final outcome. Yeah, everybody remembers that because Hardman didn't even know he won the game. As far as the dynamics of the game, don't sit up here and act like you remember how that felt, how the game got to you. Don't. I don't. Neither do you.
That was 2 years
Neither
ago.
do you. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to the Chiefs. We're gonna get to the Philadelphia Eagles. We got a lot to talk about today, but Let's start off with a quick one, man. Let's have some fun. There was a new mock draft that dropped, and now that we have the order of team picks 1 through 30, we're headed to the biggest all-star event, Shrine Bowl, all that stuff is going on, measurements. It's time to look at some prospects. So let's pull up Daniel Jeremiah's latest mock, and let's just talk through this really quickly. Some interesting landing spots, some names as we get the people in the building. Hit us up in the comments. We're going to have a good time, man. So, JRich, let's pull it up. And what was interesting about this mock, in your opinion? So we got Daniel Jeremiah's mock pulled up. Abdul Carter, number 1 overall. Jay, number 1 overall, Abdul Carter. I dropped the mock on Monday. Who did I have at 1? Abdul Carter. I think this is how it's going to go. I think he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. I don't believe it's going to be a quarterback. I think it's going to be Carter. After Carter, you got Travis Hunter, followed by Cam Ward, Will Campbell, and rounding out the top 5, you got Mason Graham. You got your Patriots stuff on today. You happy about the Pats pick? What do you think about some of the other selections? Abdul Carter going 1 and Cam Ward going as the QB1 to the Giants, when it seems like everything that we've seen on X and social media was Shedeur Sanders and Brian Daboll.
Yeah, I mean, Carter is interesting because I didn't quite think he would get to this point, but it definitely seems like if you want a true, like, closest thing to generational player, it's probably Abdul Carter. And that was exactly what the Titans GM came out and said. He said he's not going to pass on a generational player at 1. And it seems like Abdul Carter's that closest thing. As much as we want to talk about Travis Hunter and what he's doing is so unprecedented, it still doesn't seem like he's going to be this generational player in the NFL, at least as it stands right now. And I understand wanting to take Carter instead because he just projects to be basically some version of the next Micah Parsons, right? Maybe not to that extent on the high end, but he's certainly going to be an impact player, double-digit sack guy, and probably a perennial or close to it all-pro. Cam Ward being QB1, no surprise there. It seems like he's been QB1 for a while. I'd say 70% of scouts at least probably prefer Cam Ward as QB1. At least that's how it seems. Will Campbell's fine. You know, if that's their best O-lineman, then go for it. It helps Drake May. Mason Graham, they desperately need it on the defensive end, so no surprise there for Jacksonville. And then you have Shedeur to the Raiders, right? How do you feel about Shedeur to the Raiders versus Cam Ward to the Giants? Because I think personally, I still prefer Cam Ward, but we do have Pete Carroll, now the head coach of the Raiders, which we haven't got to yet.
Yeah, I was going to say we got Pete to the Raiders. What other coaching hires did we have? Brian Schottenheimer to the Cowboys.
And Liam Cohen to the Jags was the last one that I don't think we ever talked about.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders need a quarterback. I think Shedeur would be a fit. I would love him with Brock Bowers. I think it'd be great. He and Bowers would just I think that would be a really good connection. I also think Jacoby Myers being there would also help. Offensive line, I don't know, but you put Sanders in Las Vegas, and all I'll say is it's a difficult division. You're gonna have to get through. And good luck. Like if you're the Raiders and you're watching, in my opinion, man, one of the best quarterbacks that we've seen over the last 10 years play football in Josh Allen. Not even Mahomes, right? Like I'm talking about Josh Allen, and he can't get through Mahomes. Like he can't do it. And
yeah.
You know, Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward or Jalen Milroe, are those going to be the guys to get you over the hump? My question is...
Especially in that division, right?
What's your expectation level, right? For him to be better than Aiden O'Connell, better than Gardner Minshew? Okay. Can he go out there and outduel a Mahomes to get to the promised land? I don't...
Who is in your opinion right now, let's give you like the last 3 or 4 years, the most mid quarterback in the NFL? Because I feel like it's somewhere between like Ryan Tannehill. I think even Kirk Cousins is probably a little bit too high on like the higher end because he had some like pretty decent seasons. Like I think that's where you'd project Shedeur Sanders to be, like just a mid-level, decent quarterback, maybe a guy you extend if he has some good seasons. But to your point, playing in that division, how is that going to happen?
I don't know.
Is he better than Bo Nix?
Not
with how good the offensive line was. Broncos had the best offensive line in the league per like all metrics and across the board. The Raiders don't have that. So it's like he's going to a bad situation, and I get they're going to try and improve it. And, you know, when I was on BR, I talked about Pete going there, but the other side is they do have the second most cap space in the league. So it's interesting, but I think Shedeur's going to struggle. And then it's, what do you do from there once he does struggle? If he struggles,
well, I mean, I could say the same thing about the Giants situation, and you're going to have to deal with Jane Daniels and Jalen Hurts. Like, is that even any better?
Absolutely.
You move down the board, Tyler Warren to the Jets. I think fantasy football people would lose their mind just having a tight end drafted that high. You've got Tedor McMillan going to the Carolina Panthers. Makes a lot of sense for Bryce Young. Michael Williams, Tyler Booker going to the Bears. Number 10 overall. I had Tyler Booker, I believe, 18th, and people hated it. And Daniel Jeremiah has him here at 10. 49ers get offensive line help. Ashton Genty, of course, mocked to the Dallas Cowboys. Kelvin Banks, you get a pair of UT guys going back-to-back. Will Johnson slipping to 15th. I know Falcons fans, they want pass rushing help. If you can get the best cornerback in this class, which is Will Johnson, at 15, that is a steal. Jalen Walker, Walter Nolan, you've got Kenneth Grant, D-line. Jahad Campbell. This safety for Denver from South Carolina is getting a lot of buzz. Nick Imamori. I don't know anything about him, so I need to look him up. Got Matthew Golden. Me and DP mocked Matthew Golden first round in a couple of mocks, and people shit on DP. Oh, he doesn't know ball, doesn't know what he's talking about. And now you're seeing more and more Matthew Golden as the wide receiver 2-3 off of the board in these mocks. The Chargers, no surprise, take Colston Loveland. You got Shamar Stewart going to the Packers. Okay. Malachi Starks falling to the Vikings. This would be a nice get. Luther Burden going to Houston to help out C.J. Stroud. I think that's a good pick. I've mocked him multiple times in the first round to Houston. You got Josh Connerly going to the Rams. The Ravens going cornerback. Mike Green going to the Detroit Lions. Commanders getting O-line help. They probably need that after watching what happened with Philadelphia. I also think they need another playmaker as well for Jaden Daniels. You got Derek Harmon going to the Buffalo Bills. TJ Sanders, another D lineman, and the Kansas City Chiefs going edge rusher and James Pierce. So this is a very loaded defensive line class, JRich. A lot of defenders, and a lot of these guys are going to be in Mobile this week, so we'll get a chance to see those cats here live in person in a couple of hours.
Yeah, I know DJ tweeted out this morning, right? And he was talking about the D-line class, and we've been hearing more and more, not just the D-line in general, but specifically at defensive tackle, it's a loaded draft class. But he was saying, I believe he was going through his top 50 players, and he has 16 D linemen in his top 50, which I don't know what that is compared to other years because I don't have the figures for other years, but it does sound like a lot, even for a pretty loaded draft class.
Yeah, it's loaded at that position, and there are official measurements starting to come in from the Senior Bowl. So who are some of the players that you're most excited to see here in Mobile, and give the people some names that they need to keep on their radar, especially let's give the fantasy football crowd what they want. Who should they be paying attention to as we roll into Mobile? Because there's going to be a lot of names. Everyone's going to be tweeting out highlight reps, practice videos, practice clips. We'll be doing the same. What are your thoughts, man?
I mean, the one guy, I think it's probably the running backs, right? Like, when you talk about whether it's fantasy or otherwise, the biggest point of conversation with this draft class has been how deep the running back position is. And I think you look back to when, Ray, I'm forgetting now who the running back was out of Tulane, who plays for Tennessee.
Tajay
backup
Spears?
For Pollard. When Tajay Spears cemented himself, right, at the Senior Bowl, and you could tell he was the best running back there. For me, it's going to be who's the guy that stands out in Mobile, because that could be a massive differentiator for a lot of these guys, whether it's Devin Neal or Ollie Gordon. Like, I'm really excited to see RJ Harvey next to some of these other guys, because I do think he has certain traits that the other guys don't possess, and I want to see how they kind of line up with everything else. But when I'm talking about the running backs, I think that's where it's going to be cemented, and you can really improve your draft stock, because there's all these guys that have these, second to fourth round grades, and we're hearing there could be 7, 8, 9 day two running backs.
Let me just
but you got to be able to differentiate them.
Let me read off the running backs that are going to be there, okay? Cam Scatterbo, Jarquez Hunter from Auburn, RJ Harvey, one of my personal favorites. Love RJ Harvey out of UCF.
Great vision.
You've got Marcus Yarns out of Delaware, Devin Neal out of Kansas, Damian Martinez from Miami, Donovan Edwards and Khalil Mullings from Michigan, Ollie Gordon II from Oklahoma State, Woody Marks, USC, Bashul Tootin, Virginia Tech, Brashard Smith, SMU, LaQuaint Allen, Syracuse, Trevor Etienne from Georgia. I mean,
they're all very, very good.
Dude.
Like, very, very good. And Donovan Edwards feels like the guy that, is lost in all of this. Former 5-star prospect. We talked about him as RB1 of the class at one point, and now he's just another guy in the bucket. And it's like, who's going to be the guy to really cement themselves? Ray, if you had to put your top 3 that you're looking forward to seeing, who would be your top 3? I think both of us, Harvey is really high on the list, because I just want to see him against some better competition. But outside of that, I know you're a big fan of Woody Marks. You want to see how he looks compared to some of the other guys. And I think Devin Neal for you would be another one, but I do want to see Ollie a lot.
I want to see Ollie more than anybody.
He needs to be.
Because,
I need to see how fast he is a little bit.
Yeah, I want to see Ollie because a lot of these cats, Brashard Smith, speedster, Woody Marks can run. Donovan Edwards is fast. A lot of these guys are real quick. Like you could see it on tape. Ollie, what he weighed in today, I think the official measurement 6'1", 233. I mean, that is just hammer if you've ever seen one, right? I want to see how he looks compared to some of those guys. Devin Neal, of course. I want to see a ball. This is just a Scattaboo. I want to see how Scattaboo looks compared to some of these guys as well.
Oh, for sure.
When you go to the quarterback position, look at the QBs. Jalen Milroe, you got Riley Leonard. I don't know if Will Howard's going to participate, but Jackson Dart, Dylan Gabriel. This is it's a great Senior Bowl group, and not because they're going to be multiple first-rounders, number one overall picks, but just the talent pool. The tight end position is deep, man. You look at Gunnar Helm out of Texas, Terrence Ferguson. You got Mason Taylor from LSU, Harold Fannin. Everybody wants to see him. Jake Brenningstool from Clemson. It's a dope class. Dope class of running backs. Receivers, I'm not as crazy over the receivers this year. I think you're going to get a lot of day 2, day 3 kind of receivers, but the one that
you don't want to see Tez?
I know what Tez is. I don't think I need to see Tez in person to know what Tez Johnson is. I want to see Xavier Restrepo and Ty Felton from Maryland play. I think those could be 2 really good slot receivers. And we got to interview old Kyron Lacey and see what's going on with old Kyron Lacey and everything that's happening in his world. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited. You've got the cameras. We've got the equipment. We're going to have a good time out there. So stay locked into the channel. Player interviews. All kinds of dope shit will be coming from Mobile this week, Jay. Excited.
Yeah, no, it'll be a lot of fun. I think Io Manor's the other one who a lot of people are pretty excited about. Could be another
it's not
day
Io
2
Manor.
guy.
So he said it the other day. It's
really.
It's like a manor. It's like one word. It's not like Io Manor. It's not like that.
Dude,
it's not
I thought I was saying it
pronounced.
wrong for ages,
and
then I hear on the broadcast they're calling him Io Manor. I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense.
No,
but,
you're saying it
him.
wrong all the way around. That's not how it's pronounced. We need to make sure we get that right. But they were talking about it last night. Yeah, excited for it. All right, let's go to comments real quick. Is this class better than the 2017 class? I'll say no, because the 2017 class got Hall of Famers, and we know Christian McCaffrey,
and they're still kicking, dude.
Alvin Kamara, those dudes are going to go to the Hall of Fame or at least be Ring of Honor for their team type players. So I'm not going to say it's better.
I'd say it's 2020 level.
But think about the names we didn't call. There was no Ashton Genty, no Caleb Johnson, no Travion Henderson, no Quinshawn Judkins, no Omarion Hampton, because they're good enough that they don't even have to stay in school. So it looks very good, and I do believe that there are going to be multiple running backs drafted the spots and get opportunity, Jay, that you're going to want in fantasy, that you're going to want on your roster, that are going to be part of a nice 1-2 committee. You look across the NFL and you see these ancillary players, right? You see the Kenneth Gainwells. You see Rashad White and Bucky Irving, right? And Bucky is the one that brings the explosiveness, but you get another guy like Rashad White. Shout out to Damian Parson. I'm just going to say he comped Devin Neal. That was his comp for Devin Neal was Rashad White. I think you're going to get a lot of 1B and 1A running backs from this class that are going to go to teams and be damn good players. So it's a loaded position and it's a needed position. I think the NFL kind of needed this kickstart at the position because there has not been a wealth of running back talent enter the NFL. And if you're holding on to these, and I like the Jaylen Warren types, but you're getting like 15 Jaylen Warrens in this draft class, man. Literally, man. Literally. Let's see right here. Sounds like you want to get rid of your running backs that don't have solidified roles. We're not going to go that far yet. All right, Fredo? It's too early to tell you to do any of that. But what I will say is we get to day 2 of the NFL draft and 15 damn running back names come off the board.
Yeah.
Not saying that all 15 are going to hit, but again, no DJ get it. I'm just thinking of all the names we did not mention that are in the class. It is.
Yeah. You're going to want to try and load up on, I'd imagine, 3rd round picks. If you can get like high 3rd rounders or even mid 3rd rounders in rookie drafts, like that's where you're really probably going to feel it because you'll be able to add some pretty talented backs. So there's literally too many running backs that they can't all go in the 1st and 2nd round. Like it's just not possible. So there's going to be some guys that fall behind a little bit. And I think, Ray, if anything, it's going to be so difficult to discern who this running back should be ranked versus another one, because they're all going to be so similar in like how you value them. It's really going to come down to is how do you project their role in the NFL and how do you feel about them as a prospect? But it'll be a lot of gut feel, I feel, because they'll be so close when it comes to draft capital, production, and skill set.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. Let me go to the chat. There were a couple of comments here. There's one right there. Love. Hey, man, Tosh Brooks, another one. He was at the Shrine Bowl. I think he was 5'9",
or something.
230. 5'9", 230. Crazy, man. Shedeur is just as good as Drake May. And then there's another one from Darkside Dev that said Shedeur far from mid. He literally carries his team. Yeah, Jay. I think I tweeted it out, man. This whole character concern shit, this narrative is so tired. And the more that this process continues to evolve, you're hearing everything contrary to that. Nobody is saying he is a bad teammate or not a hard worker or like nobody. No, like this. And I get people, well, the NFL doesn't want to deal with his father. They don't want to deal with Deion. I'm thinking this is a $20 billion company. Do you really think that Deion Sanders, and no disrespect, but Shedeur Sanders is big enough to disrupt $1 billion? Like, get the fuck out of here.
The NFL hostage.
What are we? Oh, it's too much drama. What is the NFL? It's the biggest soap opera on TV. Oh, no team wants to deal with that. And then somebody this morning tweeted me, it really reminds me of LeVar Ball and his boys. I don't want the drama.
How'd that work out? Pretty good.
Pretty good. That Lonzo guy's still pretty good. LaMelo's pretty good.
Yep.
Hey, now we all knew LiAngelo we knew he wasn't going to make it, right? We knew that. But
for every Shedeur, there's a Shiloh, right?
For every Shedeur, there's a Shiloh. Like, come on, man. This manufactured hate against, I don't get it. Because he holds up an AP? Because he holds up his watch? You don't like him because he holds his wrist up. The fucking guy, I'd rather my quarterback hold up Bible verses. Get the hell out of here, man. Don't you bring the Lord into this. He ain't got nothing to do with what the offensive coordinator calls on 3rd and 11. Stop it. Stop.
You know what was funny,
don't bring religion into the end zone. I don't want to hear it, man. I don't want to hear it, Jay.
But Ray, the place that you live in. It's religion and it's football. Those are the two major religions, and a lot of people practice both. But it is funny, though, how there was, I don't know if the clip is new or old, but I saw it circulating on Twitter, how Shedeur is like, oh, okay, and we should make a song. And he's like, I play football. I want people to know me as a football player. And it's like, that's what people want.
You hate that Shedeur and his character concerns, but Jermaine Burton literally socked a chick on national TV, not punched her. I love that Jermaine Burton. Can't wait for Burton to take over the slot role in Cincinnati. But Shedeur holds up his wrist. Oh, my God. Just blasphemy. How could it be? How could you draft such a bad kid? Stop it, man. You sound like children. Like, come on, man. Come the hell on.
And I think too to the comment previously talking about how he's not mid and stuff. It's not that he's a bad quarterback or a bad prospect, but there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the NFL that are also in very good situations, right? You throw Shedeur Sanders in a better situation than we're kind of projecting for him right now, he could be a pretty good quarterback, but the way we see it playing out as it stands, it may be a bit more of an uphill battle to kind of get to where he's going to need to get to. But that's really the only reason why I said it could be a tough road for him, especially if he ends up on the Raiders. Like, he's probably at best second best quarterback in his division, right?
It's tough for Justin Herbert. It's tough for Bo Nix, right?
It is tough for Justin Herbert,
It ain't just him. It's the fact that you're playing against fucking Michael Jordan of the NFL, literally. I mean, what?
And I wanted to ask you about this. Who is Peyton Manning in this generation? Because there's two candidates, right?
Well, hold on. Well, let's tie a bow on the collegiate talk, and then we're going to move to the NFL. Let's tie a bow on the collegiate talk. We'll be at the Senior Bowl. Stay tapped in, stay locked in. And I did not do this at the start of the draft, at the start of the show, but I do want to bring up the content because we do have some players that are going to be there. We talked about the hack, but go to the DDFFB channel. There is a 2025 Dynasty Rookie Mock on the channel. It's blowing up right now. You hear the guys, the fantasy crew, talk about these players from a fantasy lens, so make sure you subscribe to DDFFB. That is where all fantasy football content will live between the things that we do here and the whole Destination Devy operation as a whole. And on my channel earlier this week, prior to Daniel Jeremiah putting out his mock, he went and looked at mine. So he went and checked out mine first and then copied 14 of the picks. And then he put his out there, and then everybody's like, oh, man, Jeremiah said it. So I said it, goddammit, a week before. So make sure you tapped in to the mocks on the channel. We dropped one earlier this week. And then JRich, a back that you really like that we're going to see live on the channel. You're a big fan of this kid, man. Devin Neal, we're good to see him. I know you liked putting this one together. You did a really great job with this. So Kansas Jayhawk fans and fans of Devin Neal, make sure you check out the prospect profiles on the channel. There's a lot of dope stuff going up, but we do need to transition to the NFL to talk about. I just, man, what a game last night, JRich. What a freaking game. Let's pull it up.
At least one of them was a game.
I thought both were good for different reasons, man. But we are going to start with the AFC Championship game, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. The spread was 2.5.
Yeah.
They just know, man. They just follow the money. They just know. The spread was 2.5, and wouldn't you know it, Kansas City, when they never cover at home, they covered. They got it done 32-29, going back to another Super Bowl, their third straight Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes has been a starting quarterback for 7 years. He's been a starting quarterback for 7 years, and he's reached the AFC Championship game every one of those years. He's played in not one, not two, not three, not four, but this will be his fifth Super Bowl. He's 17-3 in the playoffs as a starting quarterback. He's up for a three-peat, which has never been done, and he's not even 30 years old. It took Tom Brady almost a decade in between his third Super Bowl to win a fourth, and here we are right now. I don't want to hear any narrative about being tired of the Chiefs, because what we are getting to witness now, and everyone that's on the stream that watches this after the fact, we are blessed and fortunate to watch greatness in a way that has been unseen in any sport. I was watching Shannon Sharp last night. He said the only thing that can compare in his memory to what Mahomes is doing right now is Magic Johnson, because Magic Johnson is a rookie out of Michigan State. I believe he won an NBA title in his rookie year, finals MVP as a rookie. I don't think he won league MVP, but he was a finals MVP and won a finals championship. And I believe within his first 10 years, he had like 5 titles with the Lakers, like in the first 10 years of Magic's career. Crazy. Mahomes ain't even 9 in as a starter. Like what he is doing, everything it takes to get here. Like, do you know how difficult this is to be this dominant, man? And people want to bitch and complain that you have to see Mahomes again? Are you kidding me? I'm no Chiefs fan. I got no allegiance to Kansas City. I don't got no Mahomes jersey. I appreciate the dedication and the work and the grind it takes to get to this point. And I've never, just playing football, just to imagine what you have to mentally go through for 7-8 straight years, playing all the way to February, 8 straight. Everybody else is chilling, man, right? His summertime, he gets like a month off, and then he's right back at it. To be the GOAT, man. And he's doing it with Kareem Hunt as his running back. He's leading the team in rushing. He's run. I don't know what else to say, JRich. I really don't. I don't know how people can't appreciate this. Sure, if your team lost, I know that's disappointing, but what we're watching is absolutely absurd. Absurd in today's modern era. This should not be happening.
Yeah, it's Ray. I think the biggest thing when it comes to these two teams, or this team in particular, that's so interesting is I think you could really make the case this is the best coach and quarterback of all time, like pairing. As good as Brady and Belichick were, you kind of knew that they did different things. Like, obviously, Belichick was still involved on offense, but it's crazy how Reid's ability to know exactly what to do, but giving Mahomes the option to kind of call his own number. Like, Mahomes was talking in the postgame presser about how he used his legs more because all the plays that they call have design reads where he can run if he needs to, but in a lot of cases, you just run the play as it normally goes. But they all have these things built in, and so you just realize, like, whatever you see on the field, it's way more complex than that. There's multiple reads and situations that he can go through where he can make different decisions, but it's all on him to make the right one. It feels like whenever Reid makes a call, he knows that Mahomes is going to make the right decision, and I think that's where you look to these two and say, man, they are just so on the same page, so in sync. Whenever they need a play, it feels like they get it almost every time, and that's the part that makes them seem so unstoppable, is it doesn't matter how good you play defensively. When they need a play for 3rd and 15, when they need a play for 3rd and 5, they have that play and they execute it almost to perfection every single time. And it's just a testament to their work ethic and their preparation, because they played this game very differently than the first game against Buffalo. And you almost felt like that was the plan. They wanted to play a certain style going into that Buffalo game, and they knew they were going to give them a completely different game plan. And it does remind me of Belichick a bit, because early on when Belichick was going through the playoffs a lot, there was a lot of talk that he had 2 playbooks. He had a regular season playbook and a postseason playbook. That way you're not giving teams the same looks and the same things over and over again where they can prepare for it, and it's a completely different offense and defense that you're running in the postseason.
Yeah, and I'm giving Mahomes all these props and credit, but Andy Reid, when is he going to start being mentioned with the greats of all time? And I believe that he is well within range of 300 wins. Probably, what he did in Philadelphia, what he's doing here in Kansas City, they are in sync. They are in sync. It was, and I know a lot of Raiders fans don't want to hear it. I hate the Chiefs. I get you, Joe. There were a couple other people. I hate the Chiefs. But for those of us who are not vested in the AFC West, man, it's just awesome to watch, man. Like to watch him play football this young and be this good. I'm not going to go there. If he gets a three-peat, and what's crazy is if he gets a three-peat, he's still, 3 Super Bowls back from Tom Brady, which is insane. But just look at look at their numbers up to this point of their career, and it's not even close, man. Brady hadn't won 1 NFL MVP. He had won 2 Super Bowl MVPs, but the passing touchdown, and if you remember going through the Pats era, and you might have been a little younger, Jay, but the early version of Tom Brady was very much game manager. It was very much play defense, manage the game. They won the Super Bowl in his first year. After Bledsoe went down, then they didn't go back. In the second year, they didn't do anything. Then they went, I think they got 2 straight. But this is like Mahomes is carrying them. This is him doing this with Andy Reid. I just appreciate that level of greatness and being able to watch it. And one day when we're old and we're talking about the new Arch Manning son that's coming into the NFL, or baby Mahomes coming into the NFL, we'll say, man, we lived in an era where this dude just was unstoppable. It is the Michael Jordan of the football era. It's something unlike anything we've ever seen. But there was another quarterback on the other side of the ball that I thought was also great. And there was a comment in the chat that said, I think when the Chiefs picked up that first down, when they threw the ball to P. Ryan, they hand over to Allen, and he just did a big exhale. He just like, what do I do? Like, what? Allen was 22 for 34, 237, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 60. You tell me going into the game, Josh Allen was going to have a 65% completion percentage record, 65% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, no picks. James Cook runs for 2 touchdowns. I'm like, oh, Buffalo, they dog walked it. Allen was flawless. James Cook got production. Nope. Lost again. And it's just, what do you do? Do you even want to be in the AFC, man? Like, if you get to the final boss, right, which is Kansas City, you got to get through Lamar. You got to get through Burrow. You got to get through Allen.
Maybe both.
And then you get to the final boss on your conference, right? Then you got to get through that. Then you got to beat whoever's coming out of the end. I saw somebody tweet last night, I wish Josh Allen was in the NFC. Can we just move Buffalo to the NFC somehow? Can we swap them out with Minnesota? Put Minnesota over here. Talk about the Bills, man. Where do the Bills go from here? Josh Allen had an MVP season. Probably going to finish 1 or 2. He or Lamar
Two,
should
yeah.
win MVP. He's going 1 or 2. 13-4, number 2 seed in the AFC. Where do they go from here? Like, where do you go from here? Just try again? Just try again next year. We'll try.
I think that's the problem, right? Is that, this team, outside of, I think, probably the pass catchers, because we knew that they didn't really ever quite figure out the best combination of players. They never really were able to replace Diggs, even though they got rid of him because he really wasn't playing that well and didn't want to be there. But this team was built to try and contend with Kansas City. They're not built to compete with the Ravens. They're not built to compete with the Cincinnati Bengals. They don't care about those teams. They're built to compete with the Chiefs, and they did just that. Like, they really did. The yardage was very similar. Obviously, the points were very, very close. And literally the only thing that you could point to say why the Chiefs won is execution, coaching, and maybe slightly quarterback play. They are the true distinguishing factors between winning or losing between these two teams, and that's how razor thin the margins are. And when you have a coach like Reid and a quarterback like Mahomes, they do win these games because they make that one winning play that the other team can't make. Or on the other side, even defensively, the defense made some plays that they really needed to make to win the game.
4th and 5, you run
the corner blitz.
You run a zero blitz from the short side of the field.
And two guys are like wide open, which is crazy.
What the stones to call that in that moment, and the whole thing was awesome. Besides the end of the play, and Allen still got to throw off an accurate one. I don't know how.
As close you can get it, right?
It was. I mean, it hit him in the shoulder. I mean, tight ends screwed the pooch. Isn't it?
That's the theme of the
Buffalo
playoffs.
got screwed. Buffalo was the beneficiary of a tight end dropping a pass, right? Mark Andrews, the game before. Then they were burned by a tight end dropping a pass in this game.
So who's going to do it in the Super Bowl, right?
Kincaid catches that. I don't know. I don't know if Kansas City gets another shot. I don't know.
A good shot. Buffalo's got a good shot to tie for sure because they're only down 3 points.
Yes. I think Buffalo. Who's this? James Cook. They were running all over Kansas City. I mean,
They were.
I'm watching this Kansas City defense, and I'm thinking Buffalo needs to just hand the ball to Cook, just Cook and Allen, just all day, just run. Yeah, that Kincaid drop is going to be brutal, man. But man, it's tough. Where do the Bills go? Where do they go? I think they just continue to try to build, and you try again. But to hope for this type of season again, even Lamar, like to throw 4 interceptions the whole season, I don't think Lamar does that again. Maybe, but it's a special season. And special seasons are reserved for specials. Like, that's a special season, not a norm season. Josh Allen is incredible, man. He's a great quarterback. He's one of the top 3 on the planet, in my opinion, and not number 3. But you got Patrick Mahomes, and you just have to deal with this week in and week out. Some players that I want to talk about. Xavier Worthy, JRich, hit the air horns for X Worthy.
You're a boy.
I try to tell people. If you don't believe me, believe the data. Go to ddfantasyfootball.com. Trust the Trinity. Period, folks. I see people saying, oh, man, he's a dynasty. He's been a dynasty buy for 3 fucking months. Go follow the dots. He's good. And you can watch the usage increase and the production follow. What happens in this receiving core next year when Rashee Rice is back?
I think you know exactly what's going to happen. Kelsey will kind of do his thing when needed. Probably won't have to do a lot. Be a lot of Rashee Rice.
Rashee Rice will be the new
primary
Kelsey?
over the middle.
He'll be the new Kelsey?
He kind of was, right? And if we're being honest, Rice was the dude that they went to over and over and over. And Kelsey was kind of just there for the time being. And when he had to step up, especially when in Rice's absence, he did that at times. But I imagine you just say, okay, Rice, go do your thing, catch 10 passes a game. You're 25 years old. You can do that. And Kelsey will kind of just hang out for a couple weeks. Then when the playoffs come about, he'll show up once again. But I think you just funnel targets to Worthy and Rice and Kelsey, assuming Kelsey comes back. Like, that to me, I think is a great pairing. You're going to have probably a decent running game, depending on what they decide to do at running back.
Man. He's
very good.
And he's only going to he's playing with Mahomes. It's just trust it, man. Like, don't all this other. It's a very simple. It was real funny. Them clips in preseason, right? Them was funny. Oh, look at him getting jammed to the ground. That's practice, man. You know, I told my son yesterday, he's playing on a new team this year, and we had training yesterday on Sunday, man. And I told him, practice is the place you fail, man. Like, you're not going to hit every ball at practice. You're not, like, this is the place to try some different things. Let's make sure your swing is right. Let's change, look at your stance, work on your hand placement, eyes. Like, practice is the place you fail. But people wanted to bury him because he got pushed to the ground by a fucking linebacker. Of course, he still gets pushed to the ground by linebackers. That's not what he does. But when he's running routes and they're getting him the ball, he's an explosive, dangerous playmaker. Like, stop worrying about all this other stuff that has nothing to do with football, man. And football isn't an escalator ride up. It ain't smooth. It's not just a straight. There are bumps in the road and trials and learning lessons and tribulations and things you have to figure out in deployment on how to utilize players. But bailing on a first-round talent of Worthy in Kansas City is just, it was a foolish errand to begin with. And I tried to warn you. I tried to warn you and told you to be patient. And hopefully those that did listen, you are reaping the benefit, the fruit of that. And it's only going to continue to get better in this situation. Kansas City Chiefs going back to another Super Bowl. Wow. We got to talk about another game, though. We got to talk about another game. We got to talk about the Commanders. Your boys, the Washington Commanders went down against the Philadelphia Eagles. But I got some questions for you, JRich, because you've been quite dismissive. You've been quite dismissive, but we'll get to that after the break. So hit that thumbs up button, like the content, subscribe to the channel, go to DDFFB, follow me at the Ray GQ on X. We'll be right back after the break. Appreciate y'all being back to the show. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay. Make sure you subscribe to us here on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up button, like the content, subscribe to the channel. Go to DDFFB for our fantasy football content. And check out all the dope content we dropped on the channel over there. Dynasty rookie mock drafts, trade shows, Scott Connor talk and process over there. Make sure you pull up on that. And then here on this channel, mock drafts every single week. We'll have different guests, me by myself, and prospect profiles. Devin Neal out of Kansas is up right now, and Ollie Gordon II out of Oklahoma State coming here in the next 24 to 48 hours. Jay, I'm looking at some of the comments come in and talking about the Trinity, talking about Keon Coleman's got a good score. I'm in on Keon. Like, I want Keon, 5.5 and above. You fit inside the threshold. I want you. And you look at Buffalo's target distribution yesterday, he was tied for second in targets with a bunch of other players, but he was tied for second behind Khalil Shakir. Khalil Shakir. Khalil Shakir. Yeah, tied for second in targets. But Philadelphia and the Washington Commanders, that was another game. NFC 14-3 Philadelphia Eagles against the 12-5 Washington Commanders. It was 55-23, JRich. 55-23. So that final score, not good, but there was some positives inside of this game. And I don't think Jaden Daniels played bad. I think this was a rookie going up against a veteran team. That's what it felt like. I don't think he played bad. He wasn't lights out spectacular. It wasn't perfect, but this will help him. I've got nothing bad to say about Jaden Daniels. This was a team people thought would be picking in the top 5 again, and they were 1 win away from a damn Super Bowl with a slug at running back. Zach Ertz. I mean, my God, you give him an extension. How old is he? I mean, I'm tight end 1 next year.
Julian's going to be pissed when he comes back next season.
I need Washington if they keep Ertz, I'm in. If they go in another direction, I want the tight end for this team.
35.
Jaden Daniels is going to target that position. But this starts, stops, ends, begins and if they win, will be because of him. Number 26, Saquon Barkley. I mean,
Aquarius. Okay.
JRich. I'm riding back. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't see the play at first. I'm riding back from practice with my boy. And Eagles, I'm listening to I'm listening to it on the radio, and they're like, oh, the Commanders, 17-play drive to open the game. I'm like, damn. Like, wow, they're going to get it done, the blueprint. So I'm driving. Philly gets the ball. All right, hand off to Saquon Barkley. Saquon around the left side of his head. Saquon spins around the quarterback. Saquon cuts. I'm thinking, what? First play? First touch? 60 yards?
It was so bad.
Running backs may not matter. But Saquon Barkley absolutely matters. Absolutely. 8 yards an attempt. Yeah, he only carried the ball 15 times. You know, the best part about this game is he only carried the ball 15 times.
Yeah. Kellen Moore didn't even really try and get him the ball. Like that was kind of the crazy thing. It seemed like he made more of an effort to get Jalen Hurts like going and comfortable and just like getting the offense as a whole flowing when they could have just ran the ball with Saquon Barkley and he probably would have had like 350 yards. Because, that first play, Ray, I'm assuming you've seen it now, but literally he goes off the edge on that outside zone. Right end falls over. When he falls over, Bobby Wagner falls over. I'm like, oh, man, this is not good. There's nobody on the edge to contain Saquon, and he just goes.
No one can.
And it was over.
He's the best running back in football. The best running back in football.
Not even
I love
that
the
close,
king.
man.
Love the king. Saquon Barkley's the best running back in football. 15 for 118,
passes.
3 touchdowns, 7.6 a carry. My boy Will Shipley even got in the action late.
White Lightning. When White Lightning got going, I was like,
White
oh,
Lightning.
man.
Hey, well, White Lightning, he got the game popped off with the forced fumble. I mean, he's out there kamikaze style on kickoff coverage, blasting Jeremy McNichols. I mean, this game, Philly knew what they wanted. Like this is a veteran team, man. Their defense is ridiculous. Offensive front got banged up. I saw Cam Jurgens was in at center. Their O-line is banged up, so they need to get healthy up front.
Especially against Chris Jones. Woof.
But Jalen Hurts, 20 for 28, 246, touchdowns, 71% completion percentage, Jay. And he also gave you 3 touchdowns on the ground. The long tush-push series.
Oh, that was the worst.
Awful.
Can we just admit that, like, okay, I get the tush-push is a thing, and I'm fine with it being a play, but are we really going to hard count it in a game where we're up by, like, 20 points? Like, that to me was ridiculous. Can we just run the fucking play?
Come on, dude. Are you a boomer? Like, get out of here with that. Just run the play. I mean, it's fine.
Right, but like,
it was
really
fine.
like,
don't jump off sides. What do you
awful.
mean? Don't jump off sides. What are you doing?
No, I get all of that. I'm totally fine with that. I'm not trying to take it, but like, are we really gonna hard count on the push?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, let's be real here. Let's just play football. Like,
oh God, here you go. A.J. Brown, 6 for 96, 1 touchdown. He looked pretty happy. A.J. Brown looked happy. Dallas Goedert.
Was he reading on the sidelines? I didn't see.
I don't know. I think he might have had the Dallas Goedert. I mean, they're giving him jet sweeps. What are we doing? I mean, Dallas Goedert. I'm sitting here watching him. Think I need to buy him in Dynasty. Jalen Hurts has found his guy again, and there is something to that tight. Think about this, man. These tight ends for these mobile quarterbacks that want to run around. And Jaden Daniel, in my opinion, is a better pure passer than Jalen Hurts, but that security blanket of having that tight end in Dallas Goedert, Smitty, 4 for 45. But let's talk about Jalen Hurts because you, my friend, have, and we're getting this off the screen. We need to go full screen with you. Well, let's go full screen with you. You, my friend, have talked so much trash and shit about Jalen Hurts for the worst starting quarterback in the playoffs. He's awful.
Sure,
Can't hit the broadside of. I don't care. Like honestly, I don't look at him and think I'm going to get Tom Brady. Okay, that's not what I want Hurts to do. The day that Hurts decides to just take 5 and 7 step drops and just deal, like that's when I'm out. I'm out. That means he can't run. I'm out. That's not who he is. It wasn't who he was in college. It's not who he's been. He had that one great year with Shane Steichen where everything gelled in the past. But they want to run the ball. This is their identity. This is how they play. It matches the defense. It feels very Philly-ish, right? And in 3 years, he's got his team, despite all the great offensive minds in the NFC, the Lions and this and that. Here goes Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, in yet another Super Bowl in 3 years.
Yeah.
You still want to talk trash about him? You still want to talk shit about how he's the worst quarterback in the playoffs and all? Would you, the double down king himself, do you want to triple down on that? Do you want to triple down that he's still not on
him being the worst QB in the playoffs remaining of the 4?
Wherever you want to go, my friend.
I'm
truly fascinated how you about to triple down on this.
I would stand by that he's the worst quarterback of the 4 remaining in the championship, and I have no problem doing so. You said Jaden Daniels was fine. I'd say he was pretty good, and his team really let him down, right? Because he was getting the ball to his receivers, and they kept fumbling. But in terms of Jalen Hurts, he was dealing in this game, and I'm not. The funny thing is that you make me into the villain in all of this.
I'm not making you into anything. You came on here and laughed.
Okay.
Not only here, because you got bigger audience too, right?
And
on Bleacher
BR.
Report in front of thousands of people.
Guess what, Ray? We out this week, so we are not going to be held accountable for the things that we said last week.
You will not be held accountable, but I got you right now.
The BR crew will have to wait until next week to get on my ass when we talk Super Bowl. But Jalen Hurts was great in this game. I was more fearful about the health and whether or not they could keep up with Jaden Daniels. And to be fair to Jaden Daniels, I did think he played a very good game. It's not so much that I thought that he was perfect. I expect him to make mistakes because when he played against Philly, he did throw 3 picks in the regular season. So I expect him to turn the ball over. But it did seem like his team let him down more than he let them down. He made his mistakes. He got sacked sometimes that were pretty bad, and he could have done a little bit better staying ahead of the sticks. But he also made some pretty big plays and big throws for this team. The problem is he was just going against a better team. And the Eagles played like not just a better team, but like the best team in the NFC, which you and I went back and forth on a lot. And I told you pretty much all year that I thought that the Eagles were the best team in the NFC. And I told you that I thought that as long as they have a good offensive identity, they'll be fine because the defense was getting better and better every week. They started off a little rocky, but Fangio has this team really cooking now. They're healthy. They played very well. And I think it's going to be a question as to whether or not the Chiefs have a game plan to stop this team. Because realistically, on paper, the Eagles have the better team, in my opinion. The thing is that they don't have Reed and they don't have Mahomes. And that's kind of how it is. I think the last time these two teams played, it was a little bit more even. But I think now, even with a younger defense for Philly, I'd imagine, than it was last time, like this team does seem like the more talented team on paper. And so I am pretty excited to see how it all plays out and how they choose to attack this Philly team because they are a very, very good team.
I agree with Joe. Joe nails it. Hurts is just the dog of dogs. His confidence, his coolness, it's high for even NFL. He doesn't care. Do you not think he knows that he's not freaking Aaron Rodgers, right?
Of course he does.
But I think he's of all the rushing quarterbacks, he's right up there. I think he's the best rusher. He was the best rushing quarterback of the 4. He's the best one. Yeah. He's the best rushing quarterback. So,
yeah.
How do you want to? They don't play like the other team. That's not what they do. If Jalen Hurts has to throw the ball 48 times, 50 times, it's probably not a good thing. Probably not.
No.
It's probably not a good thing. It's pound the ball, do what you need to do, and there are a lot of quarterbacks who can't do that because they can't. They're not built like him to withstand that. They don't got the mentality to where I'm a pull zone reads and run this thing and do these sneaks. Wasn't Baker Mayfield got hurt trying to do a damn QB sneak? He's built.
Well, Mahomes did, right? That's when he sprained his ankle.
That's
why they don't do it anymore.
Worst quarterback, I don't believe there is one. Like they're just different. They're all different. I mean, y'all are so fickle anyway. There's a point in the season where you're on here talking about how bad Patrick Mahomes is. Oh my. Is Mahomes fall? Remember that? Has he fallen off?
Is he still a QB1?
Is he still a Q? Not only that, I mean, look at he didn't get named to the Pro Bowl. This is it.
It's over.
He's a game manager now.
Yep.
This is how spoiled sports fans are today, man. The blasphemy and the audacity to say those things about Hurts, about Allen, about Mahomes, it's just silly, dude. Like this right here, it's really, you really have to take a step back. Like outside of what's happening to truly appreciate, like this is, and it goes back to what you asked at the top of the show, this is our Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady. It's those guys. Because when you look back in that late 90s, early 2000s, early 2010s, the only people that were winning Super Bowl, you got Brees that snuck one out, right? Brees get one?
But he was in the other conference, though, so it's a little different.
All I'm saying, I don't give a shit about that. You got Brees that got one. What, Big Ben got two? Yeah, I think Pittsburgh got two. Ben got two.
Baltimore got one.
Rodgers got one.
Manning got one, right?
Manning had two. I think Manning got two or three.
Oh, because Denver. I was thinking one of the
Denver.
Colts. I was thinking more of the Colts one than the Denver
Manning
one.
got 2 or 3. Brady had 7. But it was that was your cast of characters. And then you have Phillip Rivers trying hard to get there and couldn't make it. That's Lamar Jackson right now. You know, this is what it is. It's going to be Lamar, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Hurts, Daniels. Who else?
Burrow in all of this?
Because Burrow?
So Burrow got to one, lost,
and
right?
Lost. He got to one and
he's
lost.
never really been that close since. I can't think of someone who got to one and lost. It's almost like Kaepernick, right? I mean, Kaepernick's kind of weird because like he didn't really get there based off his own merit, but the Niners got there the one time, and then that was kind of it, right? I was talking about more the Niners team that one time with that team. What? All right, man. I'm just thinking of teams.
The fact that you even mention his name with those guys, just stop. Okay?
I'm just talking about a QB who went there once and then never really got back.
I'm talking about greats, not Colin Kaepernick.
Getting to a Super Bowl is getting to a Super Bowl, whether you're great or not.
No,
I don't know.
That's not the press. That is not the conversation that we're having. We're talking about appreciation of the great quarterbacks in the NFL in the era in which they play, not the great team that got. I'm not including him.
Oh, Matt Ryan.
In this conversation.
That's a good one. That's a good name. Matt Ryan is a great name.
That's a hell of a lot better name than Colin Kaepernick. Yes. Matt Ryan is a good one.
My wheels were spinning.
It's funny, man. I saw because Matt Ryan he's a commentator for
I think he's Fox, isn't he?
Is it Fox or CBS? Anyways, there was some piece that I was watching about Matt Ryan, and they were basically talking about how good he was during his era, but sucks that he played in that era when he won MVP. They like it was his teammate. It was like Roddy White, and people say, man, Matt Ryan was a dog,
Ridley,
but he just
Turner.
He was in a bad era where you just got to go up. I mean, you see this in sports, right? I'm sure. Think about Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. How many majors would Phil have won had not been for Tiger? It just, goddamn, man, I got to play with
anyone,
you.
Right? Like,
I got to play with you. That sucks, right? Wayne Gretzky, I'm sure, Michael Jordan. It's that dominant era. And in football, to have one person and one team do it is super anomaly. But this is our kind of pack of quarterbacks. And you look around, I look at the Dallas Cowboys, I'm like, there's no hope, man. There's no hope. There's no hope. There's no hope. Jacksonville, I don't give a shit if it's league. There's just no hope.
If you're in the AFC, man, you are so screwed. Like, not even just the crazy thing is,
Cam Ward.
Okay, cool.
Cam Ward to Tennessee. That I just
How are you gonna make it, man? There's no way unless you are really like that. I think the crazy part, right, is Ray, as much as we love Jaden Daniels, even for him, like, it's gonna be tough to even get there. And he plays in the NFC. And I remember, I forget where it was. It might have been on BR. We were talking about how bad the NFC was. People were like, oh no, the NFC's not bad. You gotta play the Lions, you gotta play the Eagles. Like, yeah, there's some good teams, but like, this is a quarterback-driven league, and 7 of the top 10 quarterbacks are in one conference. Like, that is not a balanced league at all. And it's like, yeah, you have these divisions like, sure, CJ Stroud probably gonna make the playoffs every year, but how the hell is he gonna make it out when he's probably the third or fourth team every season? And guess who he's playing? The first team that didn't make it. The Baltimore Ravens or the Cincinnati Bengals or, Denver if they're really good or the Chargers if they're really good. Like, the first team to not make it in the NFL right now in terms of winning the division is going to be a very, very good team. Very, very good team.
Yeah, Justin hit it. He said Jared Goff, he ain't a great in my books, but he got to a Super Bowl early and has not been back since. Fredo says Lamar is very similar to Donovan McNabb. Is very similar to Donovan McNabb. Joe said, nah, JD5 is different. McNabb, I don't think McNabb had any MVPs. I don't think he had any of those. JD5, I think Jaden is a little different. I
hope he is, but it is going to be tough, right? Like it is. This is a very difficult league.
But it ain't the AFC, man. It's not the AFC.
It's not the AFC.
Not the AFC. So.
And he showed he could beat the Lions, right? Like, what are they going to do next year? When they don't have
all
the Lions.
Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. He went toe-to-toe as a rookie with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn and said, hold my beer, and sent them packing to Cancun. I think JD5 is there. I think this loss for him, it might end up being one of the best things for Washington long term. The fact that they found that it wasn't, I think when you look at Washington, it wasn't a Cinderella run either. They started off hot, and then remember they went through a stretch where they lost. They lost. They got their asses handed to. They were a wild card team. So it wasn't like it was just a Cinderella story all the way through. But the fact that he got here, and even in that game, I mean, throws that he had made, Terry McLaurin getting the ball to Ertz, the legs, the touchdown on where he had ran that in, I think this is going to fuel and give him that's valuable experience against the team that's going to be in the Super Bowl, a team that's been the two of the last three. I think that is going to be one of the best things that young man will be able to carry forward with him. Absolutely. Is the success he found and how he found it. I think Jaden is a different cat too. I think he's a little different than the Goffs and some of the other quarterbacks that seem a little more scheme and coach dependent.
Yeah.
I don't think Jaden is that.
And I think the other thing that you didn't even touch on that is huge for an organization as a whole is like, this is a quarterback you can invest in and feel confident in investing in, right? Not from a contract perspective, but like to build the team around him. A lot of owners are like, well, do we really want to give this guy $50 million or $100 million because we don't really know if we have our quarterback? Like, you have your quarterback, and you're going to be competitive as long as you continue to build around him and put the pieces in place to have a good team year over year. So I think that alone is like invaluable to just about any team.
What do you think they need? I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat. Of course, receiver, I think they need another pass catching option. Zacchaeus did his job. Dayami did their job. Where the hell was Luke McCaffrey at? Where was
Couldn't
that?
Get in the rotation, but maybe next year.
They probably need another guy, but defensively, somebody said in the chat earlier, I'm watching the those linebackers were very stressed.
I mean,
you've got
Bobby
safeties coming downfield to arm tackle. What are we doing? Get off the field. You're playing. Listen, man, it was when I got to play some safety, I took that job very serious, man. I'm coming downhill and I'm coming to blow your ass up. Not no arm tackles. Bobby Wagner, love him. Hall of Fame linebacker. He can't run sideline to sideline. He can't. Them stretch plays were killing Bobby Wagner.
They were.
I get the offensive side. I get a more weapon. You need somebody on the defense. You give up 55 points in an NFC Championship game, I don't want to hear shit about offense right now. Nothing.
Yep.
I don't want to hear a damn thing. What they scored? What? How many did they score? Watch the score. What? 30?
23 for Washington.
23 points. You give up 55, man. You need to go. You need to go get some. You need to go get some big boys. A defensive side of the ball. You can't be giving up 55 freaking points in the playoffs, man.
What's crazy is like you look to even last season, these guys are selling off defensive linemen like it's a liquidation sale, right? They're giving away Montez Sweat. They're getting rid of Chase Young. They obviously kept Daron Payne and some of those, and Jonathan Allen, I believe, was the other one they kept. But like, imagine if they even had those guys on this team still. Like that D line would have been way better than it was this season. So there's a lot of needs.
Jay, I get the offensive side scores the points and gets the highlight, but what did Philly do over the last 3 years? What has Philadelphia done? They've invested They've invested in the trenches.
They take a walk down to Athens and they say, "Hey, we'll take you, and we'll take you, and we'll take you."
Which one of you big hosses is 330? I mean, they invested inside, and it's paying off big time. Even the fact, and on both sides of the ball, Cam Jurgens, they had to plug him in. Like it's paying off. Investing in the trenches. Zach Bond at linebacker. They got safeties that can come downhill. They can cover. They can.
And their corner selections were massive, right?
The positions that matter. Like Smitty and them are nice. Smitty is nice, and he got paid $100 million or whatever it was. A nice contract. Yeah. It's great. You're an ancillary piece to the operation. You really are. Like you are. When we need you, you're there. But you ain't. You're Devontae Smith ain't the reason why Philly's winning. It's the investment in the trenches. It's the dog at quarterback. And say what you want about the RB position, it's having Saquon Barkley. And as Giants fans got to be sick. They got to the arrogance to they got to be sick, man. They got to be sick.
They
got, and not only did you lose Saquon, and I get it, right? You paid Jones that you cut. You got Malik Neighbors, but damn, I bet you if every team can go back again, it's like, what do we do to get Jaden? Like, how do we trade up to do this? Like, take what you want, man. I'm excited for the Super Bowl. I say all of this to say I don't know which way I'm going to lean because I'm watching Kansas City's run defense, man, and all I keep thinking about is, man,
it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
And it ain't just Saquon and Hurts. I think it's gonna be a good one. If you recall, which I know you don't, but if you recall, Jalen Hurts, I believe, outplayed Patrick Mahomes when they met in the Super Bowl.
Yes, you could say that. I believe they did.
No, I am saying that. I believe.
You believe, but you're saying it. So just say it instead of saying you believe.
To be. He did. I'm trying to give Mahomes a look. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. He outplayed him.
Yeah, he did. He played well.
He played phenomenally in that
27 for 38, 300 yards, 72%, 8 yards an attempt, 1 touchdown, 2 sacks, 80 QBR, 15 carries, 70 yards, 3 touchdowns. Pretty good. Lost 38-35.
He did. He did. But let's not.
I like the over, though.
Let's not make it seem like they went out there and just got dog. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes on the biggest stage. Lost the game, team game, but he outplayed him.
Only 11 points in the second half. That was the problem. Versus 24 for KC.
Well, he's got Saquon Barkley this year.
He does.
D-Bro, what's up, baby? I'm glad you made it to Mobile safely, man. Derek Brown in the bill. Give Derek Brown an air horn, man. Give Derek Brown an air horn. What's the spread? Is there an opening line on the game right now?
1.5.
Kansas City?
50.5 over under.
50.5 over under?
So good luck taking the Eagles on a 1.5 spread. Yeah, you're not gonna do that. This is the problem. Like, we did this.
I didn't say I wasn't gonna do it. I just asked what the line was.
It's just like, are you really gonna bet against Mahomes again in the Super Bowl? Like, are you really gonna do it? And you can.
So who do you think's gonna win? So we are. Who do you now? Early prediction. Who do you think wins the game?
So honestly, like, and I'm being serious. Like, I would be really happy for either person to win. Like, I'd be super pumped for Saquon to win, for Jalen to win, for A.J. Brown, like for the Eagles to win. But I do think the Chiefs are going to win. Like, I do think there is just something that they are going to do that Philly isn't going to be able to counter. But to be fair to them, like, they do have Vic Fangio this time around. It is a much different situation than last time. Vic Fangio is going to be the reason why they win or lose the Super Bowl. I don't think it's going to be necessarily because Kellen Moore schemes up a great offense. It's going to be because Vic Fangio does his job. And for everyone who forgets, Vic Fangio has been the architect of the Denver defense when they really were able to go toe-to-toe with Mahomes. And that's one of the biggest reasons why they may be very successful against Mahomes, because Vic Fangio is very familiar with Mahomes from when he was in Denver and he was the DC there. So there is a lot of reasons to believe that he can scheme up a good defense, but it's going to come down to whether or not they can stop this KC offense. But Worthy's going to be an X factor. Does DeAndre Hopkins show up? How does Kelsey play?
Hey, speaking of that, man, I'm kind of watching their receiving core thinking, this ain't that bad. You got Hopkins as your possession receiver. I know he's not the nuke of old. You got Worthy to stretch the field. Juju showed up.
Dropping passes?
I'm looking, but Hollywood caught a few as well. But I'm looking around like Mahomes has got to be elated. This is the best
compared to what he's had at sometimes.
It's the best collection of U's he's had in a long time. I'm excited. I think this is going to be a really good game. If I had to bet today, man, it'd probably be Philly, man. Give me Philly. If I had to bet today, I think Saquon Barkley, he's on a mission, man. They are, you know what's coming, and I think you're gonna learn. I think you're gonna know real early in that game if Spags has the answer for this rushing attack. I want to see how Philly's. I want to see how Philly's O-line gets healthy over the next couple of weeks, but they get a couple of weeks, right? They're nothing this week. They get a couple of weeks. But if James Cook's involvement was any indication of what I believe Saquon could do to them, if I'm Sirianni, like Hurts and Saquon were running the ball, AJ Brown will have his shots. You know, I mean, Mac Hollins was getting deep on Kansas City, man. So I'm excited for this Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a fun one. And these are the two best teams in the NFL. And they've been the two best teams in the NFL the whole way. Philly's been the best team in the NFC, right up there with the Lions. I know the Lions just have so many injuries, man. That led the league in IR spots.
They could have their whole team. Philly was always the better team. It was just whether or not their defense was going to get going. But Vic Fangio figured it out, and now they're literally the best defense in the NFL. And I believe they're even better than they were in the regular season because they're only averaging like I forget what the number is. But their metrics are insanely good right now. Insanely good. They're balling. They can get home with 4, and they're going to be able to get home with 4 against Mahomes because like half their defensive line runs a 4-3 or 4-4 because they're all so fast.
Kong the King, appreciate the super chat, man. Said, appreciate y'all as always. Ray, I need a Jared Ivey interview at the Senior Bowl. Dude looks like a dog. We're going to get as many freaking interviews as we can and ask them really engaging, cool questions. So stay locked in. And then Marlon, how about those Eagles, Jay JRich? Fly. Hit the sounder.
That is insane. I supported the Eagles all season. And because I think Jane Daniels can beat him, I'm Jay wrong.
Then we got Adam. Adam's got another one for you. He said, when did Nick Wright join the show? Let's put a case of Cerveza on this. Said he's going with the Eagles, man. Shout out to Adam Zav, man. This was football is great, and this is it, man. Appreciate it. We are about to enter narrative season. It's going to be a long. It's going to be exhausting, is what it's going to be. It's going to be a long draft process, but I promise you, we are going to have fun every single Monday. Make sure you pull up with myself and JRich. Remember, the hack-off occurred this week. Old GQ was hacked, so make sure you follow the Ray GQ on X until we get the old one back. Hell, if we get it back. But if not, that's all right, man. Stay tapped into all the content we have on this channel. Dropped a profile on Kansas running back Devin Neal that is up right now. Also a mock draft earlier this week. We'll do another one post-Senior Bowl mock. Probably get Damian Parson from Bleacher Report to join me on that one. And then go to DDFFB. Check out our fantasy football content. We got rookie drafts, trade shows, theory talk, dynasty theory, all types of stuff from the crew over there, JRich. Anything you want to say to people before we get out of here, man? I'm excited to see you here in a couple hours.
Yeah, it will be a couple of hours now, so we'll have to get packing. You packed? Yeah. I'm close
I am
to
packed, man. Quite. I'm packed. Wifey was on my ass last night, so I got
this camera off and slap it in my bag.
I'm packed up. And we're gonna be there, man. So thank you all.
We'll have a lot of fun, man. Thank you to everybody.
Who else is in the chat?
We'll try and get some extra content. And we talked about maybe doing a rookie mock, maybe even live while we're there with Shane and Scott from the Airbnb, and then you'll see like you can follow me on Twitter. And if you haven't followed Ray yet on his new one, go to my last tweet. His handle's in there if you can't find it or you can't find it for search, whatever. But I mean, we'll be tweeting stuff out, videos. Like, you guys remember, I'll do a big thread of all the video and stuff that I capture from all the players. If there is players you want me to try and get pictures of or whatever, just on a tweet me, let me know, and I can do that as well. But yeah, it'll be a lot of video stuff, a lot of interviews that we want to push out. So definitely just stay tapped in for that. It'll probably be all across the socials, so you should see it as long as you follow us.
Hey, Jimbo,
Jimbo, you can't be turning on me like that. That's crazy.
No, Jimbo, he wanted me to put that sounder on that womp womp, that J wrong. Come on, Marlon. Come on, Marlon. You got to do better than that. You got to do better than that. But we appreciate y'all. Stay locked into the channel. Hey, just because it's the Super Bowl and we ain't got no football next week, I'm sure we will have some drama-filled information that we will discuss next Monday. So y'all enjoy your week. Stay locked in, and we'll see y'all bright and early next Monday. We out. Peace.
Peace.